I'd like to get into some of the tools we're using today. These are detachable clippers. The reason they call them detachable clippers is because the blades detach from the clippers itself. They have different settings, such as this is a 3 3/4, the 3 1/2. And you can always determine the length of the hair because of the size of the width right here of the blade. And then we have the 1 1/2 blade and the 2 blade. They go all the way down to 0 0. They go all the way short down to 0 0, which is down to the skin. So you use them much the same way as you would use the plastic guards. I'm sure everyone's used to doing this in the salon. But these have 6 teeth, 6 wide teeth, and they move too. Whereas the metal blades don't move, and they're a lot closer together. So I'm just going to demonstrate on the detachable clippers. We're going to go up and out of the hair. I'm going to comb everything down and just go right up and out. Comb it down again. And these cut through a lot thicker hair too. So if you ever have problems going through your hair with really thick hair and your clippers kind of bogged down a little bit, this will make it a lot easier to go through. Originally, these started out as animal clippers. And I think somewhere along the lines, a barber picked these up and started doing haircuts with them and found they're really great tools to use. I'm going to comb all this down on the sides as well. Just cutting up, just the same motion, just up and out. One thing you always want to remember is that this is a size 3 3/4, but it's probably equivalent to a plastic number 2. So these are always a little bit shorter than the plastic guards. Let's go around the ear here. The next clippers I'll be using are the adjustable clippers. They're adjustable because they adjust here. This is a 0 setting. Then we can go all the way to number 1 setting. The reason I like these is because they have a lot of freedom in here. We have number 1 setting, the 0 setting, and all in between there. I like to use these for clipper over comb. But these clippers are a good all-around clipper. I want to talk about the combs too a little bit that we're using. Notice we have a nice flat comb here, opposed to a comb that has a ridge on it, such as this comb here. See, it has a round ridge, and the teeth are really spaced apart. And it's kind of a thick comb in diameter. So we want to work away from those, maybe something nice and flat like this here. So if we go with a nice finer tooth comb, the hair will get separated more before it gets cut. So that's why I like to use a nice fine tooth comb that's flat. We could switch to a number 2 blade. You can see the difference in metal right there. It's a smaller blade. This is probably about like a number 1 plastic blade. And we're just going to go through down here and give this a closer look, more of a taper. In the same motion, we're coming in, rolling right out there. And it's nice to have your elbows kind of close to you when you're doing this. Gives you more stability. We use these smaller blades around the ears and around the edges here. And I like to also get into some of the shears we'll be using. I like using a long shear. These are a 6 1/2-inch blade. I like to use a longer shear because you can just cut more. Just one cut, rather than going across a lot with little tiny shears like this. You can go in one big cut and just take it off. So now I'm just going across the top here, just cutting, getting a rough length. I'm not really doing any fine tuning right now. If you're doing shear over comb, it can happen just a lot quicker here. Okay, I'd like to talk about the blending shears here. These are a 40-tooth blending shear, 40 teeth. That'll make a nice smooth cut. This way you can blend out all the lines. And it's a great way to practice scissor over comb because you're cutting every other section of hair. So it's a very safe tool to use. So we're just doing the same methods, just kind of touching up what we've done before. And with hair like this, it's real thick, real coarse hair. So by using the blending shears, we could take out some of that density, but leave the length. You shouldn't rely on these scissors. This should be your kind of buffer shear, your fine-tuning shear. To get all the real length off, you want to use the clipper over comb method or the scissor over comb method. Okay, and last clipper I'm going to be using today is the trimmers. These are just for around the edges, just getting some of the fuzz off around the ears. Just turn these on. We always want to follow his natural neckline here. We don't want to dig in too much over here. We want to stay right on this line. So I'm just going to go right through here. And then around the neckline, I want to stay low. Through here. Okay, now I just kind of finished the cut. Maybe spray a little water on here. Okay, I just want to kind of conclude this cut. I took the 3.5 blade on the detachable clippers up to here. Then I went through with the number 2 blade to about here. Did that on the sides and the back as well. And then I went through with the clipper over comb method, kind of took care of that line, kind of blended everything in. And then along the top, I kind of made it choppy, digging a little bit with the shears. And then finally, we took the trimmers, the small clippers, and just took care of all the little tiny hairs that were around here, made the sideburns straight, and went around the ears. This will take care of all the little peach fuzz, little neck hairs we have. And you always have to remember to take the cape off and kind of clean up where the area around the cape too. That's an important step. This is a cut that's going to be longer on top, shorter on the sides and the back. But it's kind of a difficult cut to do because of the difference in length. We're going to have a long here, and it's going to drop down to shorter and shorter. So we need to leave the sides somewhat full. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be showing you the clipper over comb method. Okay, we're going to be starting in the back. I like to always start in the back because you can get a feel of the hair, and it's a nice centered place to start. So what we're going to do is just come in here, pull the comb out, and run our clippers straight across the hair. We're going to go up and out, just like that. Now, if you notice, I'm rubbing the clippers all the way across the comb here. So it's not just kind of coasting like this. We're going to go right against the comb and go right across. So this is going to be in the number 1 setting, which is the open setting. And the reason for that is so that the hair gets separated before it gets cut. We always want to remember to comb all the hair down. That way we can see what's happening. See if we see any lines, any choppy marks, anything like that. And when you're doing clipper over comb, one major thing to always remember is to keep your clippers on top here in the comb, not drop down here. Because if you watch this corner right here on the clippers, you see where that corner is down here. And we could leave a line right in his head, right through there. So you always want to be on top here. That'll be a little safer for you. So again, we're just going up, pulling it out. And as we get to the top here, I pull the hair out a little bit more there. That way it'll be longer. So if you ever feel like you want to have the hair longer, don't hold the comb here and just try to hit the ends, because nothing's going to happen. You want to pull it all the way out here and then cut. So it's always resting on the comb. Your left hand's going to be doing most of the work here, and your right hand's just kind of like a machine that goes straight across here. This is a great technique because you can have so many different various lengths, rather than if you put the plastic guard on and just went up like this, you only get one length. This here, we can start out really tight down here and go longer as we go up. Always remember to comb all the hair down. So if you don't comb the hair down, it's going to be a big mess. You can't tell what's happening. So you got to comb all the hair down this way. Now, as we work into the sides, remember we want to leave the top long. So if we want to leave the top long, we want to get some of this out of the way first. So we get this all out of the way. And then now the way I like to remember this is if you think of this as a saw, we're going to just cut the ear off. That'll make it real graphic for you to remember. So the teeth are on top of the ear here, And we're just going to turn this around and catch all that hair. That'll eliminate all those little tiny little hairs that sometimes stick out when we do around the ear work. So teeth are down, scoop all this up, and we'll go ahead and cut it. So same thing, teeth are down, scoop it up. We can do it over here too. And comb it down. Remember to always comb the hair down. Blending all this together. It's nice to have the hair dry when you're doing clipper over comb, because if the hair's wet, the hair will stick together a lot more. And then you're cutting big sections of hair at once, big clumps of hair. It's kind of like if you had a bunch of fabric, wad it up in a ball, and then cut it, and then open it up, it'd be a real jagged cut. But if you stretch the fabric out flat and cut it, it'd be a nice straight line. So here we see the hair fans out evenly, then we go through and cut it. Then we can bring down a section of hair from the top here. Bring this down, and just pick it up, and we just want to stay just on the edges here. We don't want to cut too much off, because we're going to leave the top long. So if we cut a lot off here, we wouldn't be able to blend it in with the top, because it'd be too short on the sides. If you notice my angle of the comb bends out a little this way, that'll leave the bangs a little longer. And that's going to be the longest part of our whole haircut. It's just in the bangs. We can comb all this down, see what's happening. You see we have a little line right here, so we can go through and take that out a little. As we're going around the ears, I take the adjustable clippers and I put it on the 0 setting. Then I'm going to treat this corner just as a pencil, and I'm going to draw a line around the ear. So we're just going to draw a line right around the ear here. So if you notice, I stay very low. I don't want to go up too high here, because that'll leave a big white wall. Nobody likes that. So I'm staying low, and then I can go through this way and use the other corner, and it's a backhand motion. And just take a little bit off. Remember to stay very low. Now for the sideburns, I'm going to turn it on the number 1 setting, which is another term for it. They call it open. This is open. This is closed. So the open setting, we're just going to kind of touch the sideburns a little bit. Just kind of tighten those up a little more. So we'll go along to the other side. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to comb all this back. But, you know, I'm standing in the same place here. I just turned the model. Before he was over here, and I came in with the teeth this way, picked everything up. Now I'm standing in the exact same place. Well, now the teeth are going down again. Same exact thing we're doing here. I'm just going to cut that across. Now the teeth are down again. I'm going to get some of this back hair included. I'm going to scoop all that up. And comb this down. All right, we'll take our next section here. Just going to bring this down. That's still over there. We're not going to be able to cut that. Now, I'm not going to take a whole lot off of this section, just enough to kind of blend it together. So we're working just like this. If you notice, I'm leaving the bangs long, so you need somewhat of an angle happening, a downward angle here. Another thing that's nice about dry hair is the hair can flow more. It's not stuck together and falling together. So you notice that kind of how it drops together. And once again, we can have this on the number 1 setting, and we're just going to go through and just touch up the sideburn area a little bit more. Because that's always the first thing people notice that grows back, is around the ears, the sideburn, and the nape area. So we want to take that in nice and close there. Then I might go in with the detachable clippers with the size 3 3/4 setting. It's kind of a large setting. This will make this area just a little tighter and just blend a little smoother. So we're just going to go up and out. And you always want to work against the grain when you use these. If the hair grows down, you want to work up. If the hair grows sideways, you want to work against it. But sometimes by doing that, you create a new line. So we're just going to go through here and kind of touch this up a little bit, this little weight line area. So we'll do the clipper over comb method once more, right through here to kind of straighten this out. And this is a very convertible cut too. We can actually wet this down and make it look like it's short all over, because the sides and back are short. So it's something that can be worn as a short cut or as a longer cut. Now this obviously looks too long. These bangs are too long for what he has going on with the back of his hair. So what we're going to do is take some off the top, maybe a ½ inch or so, but we remember not to take too much. So we're going to start back here, and this is going to go shorter, and it's going to go longer as we go up. So this will be the longest point in the whole head. So if we keep that in mind, let's cut this as a slope, using this crown area as a pivot point. We're going to go longer as we go away from it. So pick this up and just go right across. Comb it down, this up here. Just kind of follow our guide. And when you get to this very front point in the center, we just want to maybe cut a little bit off. You know, those will be our longest points, so don't cut too much off those bangs. This cut kind of reminds me of the old movies, the 30s movies, when the guys had long hair and they kind of combed it back. But if they got in a fight or something like that, they would all kind of fall forward and it'd be longer. But you'd think they have short hair throughout the whole movie until something happens where their hair gets messed up. And you'll see how long it really is. Okay, so you notice we trimmed it just a little. It's not really short on top, but you can tell it is a little length off of it. This gives it more of a balance. It's not so long and then short looking. It's more of like more uniform now. And we want to cut this crown area, and this is going to go from short to long. So we're going to use this as our long point now. And we're going to work our way down here at this angle. Then I can go in with the trimmers and just kind of stay just on the edges here. I'd never come in, like make a line right there because for one thing, the sun doesn't shine there, so we're going to see a big long line there of light skin. So we just want to take this in a little tighter. Turn it this way. This as well. Okay, I'd like to conclude this haircut with the clipper over comb method throughout the back here. And as we went up, we left it longer and longer and longer. That way we can have a graduation going short to long. And the sides as well. Took all this and combed it to the side so we can leave this long. Then through here we went clipper over comb, short to long. And then the same on the other side here. And then we went through with the scissors and cutting this. And we stayed at this angle, this kind of angle here. That way this is short and it climbs to longer, finally longest in front. And the reason this works for his hair is because he's got nice straight hair that kind of falls. You know, this way you can wear it kind of forward. Kind of a forward look to it. You know, if he had real curly hair, it would just kind of come out this way. Nothing would really happen to it. So this can kind of flow, or he can wear it back too as well. So it's something he can just run his hands through and get ready, go for the day. It's a pretty low maintenance cut. And there you go. This next cut we're going to be doing is the flat top. This cut's been around for a long time, and it's kind of a difficult cut to do. My first flat top took me about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but after I got the feel of it, I got used to it. There's just a few simple things you have to remember here.